This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
I'm KJ Wright from the Seattle Seahawks, and you are watching Norb-Cam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with an update to this 2024 Seahawks team. We have finally got our roster together. The 53-man roster is set. Practice squad looks like it's for the most part set. And it's off to the official start of the regular season. I'm NorbCam. If you don't know me yet, would love it if you'd subscribe, hit that notification bell so you won't miss any future videos as I release. And there's going to be a lot of content coming down as the season is finally getting underway. Again, big thanks and shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is being brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. All right, so I just want to do a little bit of breakdown. I know the list has come out. A lot of you might have already had a chance to glance at it. I'm going to kind of look through the different position groups, talk a little bit about some of the players that stand out, some of the maybe players, some that were surprises, some that were, that maybe were some things to expect that maybe not made people know about. But let's go through and just kind of break down this 53-man roster and talk about some of the other players who didn't make the roster and those who ended up on the practice squad, and just kind of see where everybody who started on this team, the 90-man roster, just a few days ago, and see how it all shaped up to be this 2024 team. All right, so let's start with the obvious ones, the most important position at quarterback. No real surprises there. Geno Smith, the number 1 QB, and at QB2, Sam Howell. Sam Howell had a pretty good, I'd say, overall preseason himself, making some good decisions, showing that he can throw the football, he can escape pressure, put the ball into tight spots when needed, and threw a couple of nice deep balls as well. But most importantly, his decision-making, not forcing the ball when the throw wasn't there, which was his problem last year with a lot of interceptions. He had as many interceptions as touchdowns last year. So good showing from him. PJ Walker was let go, so I'm not sure what happened to him, if he's been picked up by anybody. But PJ Walker, the third quarterback, was waived. And so we move on to the next offensive position group. That's running back. And again, another not so surprising group of guys. We all knew it was going to be Ken Walker the third, junior the third, as a running back 1 with Zach Charbonnet at number 2. And Kenny McIntosh had a great preseason, had some nice runs, great touchdown run with a big stiff arm against the Browns in the finale of the preseason. Just glad to see that guy finally playing. He had so much promise coming out of Georgia, and so many of us were asking, when's McIntosh going to get his chance? What's wrong with McIntosh? Well, he did have a little bit of a knee injury, kind of affected his ability to get going, but we're obviously seeing a lot of him now, so it's great to have this 1-2-3 combination in the backfield, and hopefully we can keep this group intact. This would be great if all 3 of these guys could stay healthy, because I think we would have a formidable running game if we can have all 3 guys available throughout the majority of the season. All right, moving along, we got receiver. This was one of the more exciting competitions to watch during the preseason. We all knew who the top 3, and really probably the top 4 was pretty set. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, Jake Bobo. We kind of knew that he probably would get that 4th spot, but they got real questionable there in the last receiver 5 and 6, and that went to Laviska Shenault Jr. and Derek Young. Laviska Shenault really made a name for himself in preseason with his ability to return the football during kickoffs, and also being able to get yards after the catch. Kind of both of those skills go hand in hand, being able to be a good return guy, but also being able to be the guy that can take jet sweeps and get around the edge and fight for extra yardage. And yeah, it was just fun to watch, a lot of energy, and he's going to be a great addition to this team. So I like our receiving core. Made it even better. But the top 4 I love, but these other 2 guys are great. Derek Young is, he's been with the team a couple of years. I think this is his 3rd year. He's been mostly a special teams guy. Comes in every once in a while in case somebody else goes down and we need get that 4 wide receiver set. Yeah, he's definitely a good solid backup and a special teams contributor. All right, moving along here to the tight end position. Most of these names were kind of expected. Noah Fant, Pharaoh Brown, and then we had a couple of names that stood out during preseason. A.J. Barner was the rookie out of Michigan, and he demonstrated his ability to run block well, made a couple of catches. But I think really the standout that I noticed was Brady Russell. Russell was also an undrafted free agent, went to the Eagles last year, had kind of a quiet season, and eventually came to Seattle. And he just didn't really do much during that time, but he's definitely showed himself or showed the team what he could do, making some nice catches. Had a really nice toe tap grab. I believe it was against the Titans on a sideline pass, showing some really nice body control to catch a football as he was falling out of bounds. It looked like he didn't get the catch, and then you watch further review. It's a beautiful job of getting that toe tap grab on there. So that was pretty outstanding. He also scored a touchdown. I think they scored the first touchdown in the game against the Chargers. So dude definitely balled out and earned himself a nice spot in the tight end group. So this group looks good so far. And we know that Seattle likes to run those 3 tight end sets, so having a group of 4 here is a good solid crew to work with. So looking forward to seeing these guys get a lot of action. Then we go to the offensive line. This is the biggest group of all the position groups. A ton of guys here, which is good, and it's a little concerning in some other sides. So we've got 11 players on the offensive line. Charles Cross, left tackle, we know that. Laken Tomlinson, longtime veteran. And a lot of these guys are potentially playing multiple positions, but I think Laken Tomlinson would be playing guard. Connor Williams is the center that we picked up from Miami, coming off an ACL injury. Hasn't played much, really, because he's a combination of being here, brought to the team late in the game, still learning the whole system, as well as the recovery process. And so it's been slow to get in here and only started practicing like last week. So will he be ready by week 1? Feels like that'd be a push to get that going. But I think skill-wise, he's definitely one of the top-rated centers in the NFL. So once he can get his feet under him, get acclimated to the system, I think he's going to be probably the likely starter at center. But just to get started with is probably going to be Oluwatimi, since he's gotten the most reps up to this point. We got Anthony Bradford also competing from that right guard position. George Fant will be helping with the right tackle. I'm going to talk a little bit about Abe Lucas. Abe Lucas, our right tackle, which we thought was going to be our right tackle of the future, when drafted a couple years ago, has been dealing with knee injuries and had off-season knee surgery, and he is on the PUP list, won't play for at least the first 4 games. So we're definitely going to have help from these other guys like George Fant. And other guys, going down the list, Christian Haynes, looking good coming in there, the rookie, and definitely did a good showing filling in at guard. So I expect to see him there. He may be at the top of the there's a bit of competition there, but he might have edged out Bradford at the guard position. So we'll see how that all shakes out when they announce the starting lineups on the offensive line. Jalen Sundell is a pretty cool story as well. I like these stories of guys who are kind of like the underdog stories, the undrafted guys, and guys who just aren't the big top of the draft, who you kind of hope they have some success and make a name for themselves. So he's another center. So we technically got 3 centers on the team: Olu, Connor Williams, and then Jalen Sundell. He was with Cleveland, drafted earlier this year, and then he was recovering from a foot injury, so he ended up getting released by Cleveland. And then the Seahawks picked him up right before training camp, ended up signing him to the roster. And they liked what they saw from this young man and being able to, act as a solid backup. Mostly, again, because if Connor Williams isn't good to go, you can't be going with one center only that you can rely on. So he's kind of going to be in there to fill in at number 2 in case Williams isn't ready to go. So a little bit of much like right tackle, a little bit of uncertainty, like who's going to be the guy as they figure things out, dealing with this whole injury thing. And it's that you're one of the most important linemen on that offensive line. So hopefully they get their communication solid, because it's such an important position, being able to communicate with the blocking assignments and whatnot. So it's not just the physical part, but it's also the ability to recognize and communicate with the rest of the line. So hopefully they get this thing stabilized to where we're going to have a nice core group of offensive linemen. I think it will get there. It's just going to take a little shuffling to begin with. Going down the line, Satatawa Laumea, another rookie that we picked up in the draft. I believe he was 4th round. And then Stone Forsythe, we've seen him, been with the team for a while. He definitely rotates in there at tackle as well and could fill in guard if necessary. I think right tackle, again, is what his position would be. Again, lots of depth there. And then Michael Jarrell. He was a 6th-round pick out of a small D2 school. Was it Findlay? Anyway, kind of cool that, the chances of him making the team weren't exactly huge. But given the circumstances and everything, it's kind of cool that it actually made the roster. But coming from a very small school, small high school and pretty small college, D2 college, this is a huge stage for him to go up to. So I think that preseason game where he got to get some playing time was the largest crowd he's ever played in front of, and that was down against the Chargers, and that was like a half full stadium. So wait till he gets to play in front of the bright lights of the 12s up here in Lumen. If he gets that chance to play, that'll be a huge experience. So rooting for him. Hoping we don't have to rely on him to be our anchor at tackle, but it's nice to know that we got good guys there adding to the depth. All right, let's continue down the line. We've got, now I'm switching to the other side of the ball on the defensive line. Feeling pretty good about this crew right here. Leonard Williams. A lot of these names I don't need really any explanation for. Jaron Reed, Jonathan Hankins came over with the Seahawks. He's been around for a while. Byron Murphy, of course, I have huge expectations for him. They didn't really play him that much, I think, because they know what this guy is going to be able to do. Doesn't need to prove anything, and can't wait to see what he can do to disrupt opposing offensive lines. Mike Morris, I think he's a couple years now with the Seahawks, trying to, just add more to this to the depth of this team. And Miles Adams, who had a good preseason, I think he had some sacks and did a pretty good job as well. So get familiar with these names. We're going to see a lot of these guys, hopefully getting a lot of action and stuffing that run and getting some pressure on the quarterback. All right, let's continue along here. We got outside linebacker, the all-important pass rushers here. Uchenna Nwosu, of course, one of the most important guys, and I've been talking about him quite a bit. We all know he suffered that knee injury in the chop block against the Browns, the cheap play that they did there. Knocked him out of the game, but worst of all, knocking him out of at least the first couple of games. They did not put him on the IR or the PUP list, which means that they expect that he hopefully will be ready to go before the 4th game, because if you're on the list, you got to sit out 4 games. So it sounds like they expect him to be ready before then. John Schneider, when interviewed, mentioned that, not on IR, but not sure if he'll be ready for week 1. I'm going to just assume he won't be playing that week 1 game, and hopefully he can return week 2 against the Patriots on the road, or maybe the Dolphins game when they come to town. So we're gonna need him because the schedule is gonna get real tough real fast. But we got to get those first 2 games. So important. Let's see. We'll go to down the line. Of course, Draymond Jones been with the team. Expect just a lot of Draymond Jones, mostly playing on the interior, but. Word is with this new elaborate Mike Macdonald coaching scheme, we're going to see a lot of these guys not just attacking at the line of scrimmage, but dropping back in pass coverage, a lot of disguises so that the quarterback will not know where the pressure's coming from. A lot of confusion and deception. So let's just see a lot of these guys doing a lot of different things, which we haven't seen yet. In preseason, they played pretty safe and clear and nothing too fancy, but I'm expecting against the Broncos, they're going to do a lot to throw off quarterback Bo Nix, confuse the heck out of the rookie. Boye Mafe had a lot of sacks last year. Of course, he was part of that whole equation when Nwosu was healthy. Boye Mafe was killing it, and when Nwosu went down, all of a sudden Mafe's production declined quite a bit as well. So hopefully, again, we don't have to miss Nwosu for too much longer. Derek Hall also proven himself here and had a nice preseason with a lot of pressures and getting in the backfield. And then Trevis Gibson, he's the guy that we just traded for after the Nwosu injury, coming from the Jaguars. And coming up here pretty last minute, trying to get acclimated, like, he was getting ready to practice with their team, and all of a sudden he finds himself with the Seahawks. So quick adjustment for him, and hopefully he can help out with this pass rush and get acclimated quick. All right, moving along, we got inside linebacker. This is probably my second most concerning position besides offensive tackle, and that is inside linebacker. Tyrell Dodson, who we got from the Bills, he's kind of the main guy, kind of taking over that Bobby Wagner spot. Jerome Baker was the other linebacker that we got from the Dolphins, going to take over that kind of Jordan Brooks spot, but he has been injured pretty much the entire time he's been here, and it's a little bit concerning because we're already upon the regular season and he has not been able to play as of yet. So we're going to have to lean on Tyrese Knight, who we drafted, rookie that we drafted this year, and Drake Thomas, who's really more of the backup guy. So, yeah, we're pretty thin at linebacker. We cannot afford any more injuries at inside linebacker or we're going to be in some trouble. So these guys have a lot of pressure on them to get things going. But, hopefully Jerome Baker can start getting some reps in because, man, we need him in there. This is our thinnest position for sure. All right, cornerback. Pretty clear here who the top dogs are. Devin Witherspoon, of course, probably the leader of the entire defense. Really, he's the voice, and he's got like the Richard Sherman reincarnated. A lot of swag, talking, chirping, just a ball of energy. It's fun to watch him. Reek Woolen, of course, hopefully will be coming back here in his third year, more like his first year. Started out pretty good from what we saw, looking more like his old self. So hopefully he stays that way. Trey Brown had a great preseason as well, so he's back in the action. And then they went with the rookie Nehemiah Pritchett, and cool story with D. Williams, another undrafted guy. This guy, pretty cool if you read his story. But he had one of 5 kids, grew up down in the South. They didn't have a lot of money, struggled, almost quit football in high school until his football coach, who recognized his talent, called around and got a junior college to pick him up. He played for them and then started having some success at the collegiate level. And then the University of Tennessee saw what he could do and brought him on and started utilizing him as a punt returner. And that's kind of where the Seahawks got the attention of him, especially with the new kickoff rules and perfect place for him. So the Seahawks got D. Williams on the active roster, the 53. So it's a pretty cool story. Definitely a guy you want to root for. And we'll see how he does here. But I think this new kickoff rule definitely is starting to open some opportunities for guys who typically this might not have been a position of need where it is now. At least it seems to be. And he's also playing cornerback. I think he played some receiver too, but converted to cornerback to play for the Seahawks. So there you go. A guy to root for sure. Number 33, D. Williams. All right, moving down along, we go to the safety spot. This is I love this group right here. Julian Love, as we know, got his contract extension, played awesome last year, and all Pro Bowler. He's going to be definitely the heart and soul of that at free safety. And the strong safety, Rayshon Jenkins. Heard an interview with him. Really smart guy, and I loved his attitude and his approach to the game. And yeah, if he's a smart in interviews, he is smart on the field, then I think we're going to be in good hands with them. And we also have Kayvon Wallace and Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant played most of the preseason and did pretty good. I think he had a pick. Was he the one with the pick 6? I think so. And then he also almost had a couple others. It was just a fingertip or so away from getting a couple more picks. So, pretty solid. Like this crew a lot. So, feel much better about the back end than what we've had the last couple of years. Jamal Adams. All right. Now we go to special teams. This is pretty much a no-brainer. Of course, Jason Myers, who had a great last game, 100% on everything, including a 58-yard field goal. Of course, Michael Dixon doing what he does, and then long snapper Chris Stoll. And then we move to the practice squad. So see, a lot of the guys that we waived, got most of them back onto the practice squad. I was really happy to see that top of the list, George Halani, the running back. He had some great runs, especially in that last game. Scored a touchdown, had a nice run where he broke a bunch of tackles, got to get the ball to the 5-yard line late in that game. And I thought once he was waived that he might get picked up by another team, but nobody did. So I'm glad he's on the the practice squad, because in case something happens to our first 3 running backs, and it seems like every year something happens to where we're like digging for depth to get somebody. So it's nice to have a 4th running back who can get the job done. Cody White, wide receiver, he should have been a touchdown, and unfortunately got called for holding that negated the touchdown. That would have been a huge play in the last preseason game. Easop Winston Jr., also another guy who was fighting for that receiver spot, ends up on the practice squad. Tyler Mabry at tight end. McClendon Curtis, Raekwon O'Neal, a couple guys at depth at offensive line. Garrett Greenfield, another offensive lineman at tackle. Kyan Bars, I really don't know even who this guy is. Didn't read much on him. Defensive end, Devere Levelston. Michael Barrett. Michael Barrett is, let's see, he's the guy that we got in the trade. So when we traded Michael Jackson, we got Michael Barrett. Then we waived him. At first I was like, oh man, that sucks. We just basically gave Michael Jackson away for nothing. But then we were able to get him back to the practice squad when he cleared waivers. So it all kind of still worked out. He's still on the team. Patrick O'Connell, linebacker, depth there. Artie Burns is on the practice squad. Sadly for him, he got hurt in that Chargers game. So I could see him definitely being potentially moved if we ever have some issues at corner. Artie Burns would definitely be a guy that we can easily plug back in there if necessary. Ty Okada at safety. Marquise Blair as well came back to the Seahawks in the practice squad. And then Max Persher, he's one of those foreign players. They started doing this a few years ago where you can have a foreign player. I guess he doesn't really play, so he doesn't really count for a spot on the practice squad. He's on here right now, but he doesn't really count against it. So it's kind of a new thing that they're doing with the whole international NFL development program. And then lastly, these are the guys who were waived and claimed or unclaimed. So the ones who were claimed, John Radigan, linebacker, was waived by the Seahawks, and then as well as Jamie Sheriff, who played great on defense for the Seahawks, got some sacks, was making a lot of tackles, getting some good penetration through the line. Ended up getting, both of them got picked up by the Carolina Panthers. So, and some of the former staff at Carolina came from the Seahawks, so they kind of knew these guys already, definitely Radigan, who's been on the team for a while. So those guys did not clear waivers, end up on the Panthers, so no longer with the Seahawks. And then DJ James, he's a cornerback. He's the only guy that we drafted that didn't make the roster. And I'm not sure where he is at this point. So DJ James, he had an okay preseason. I think he had some coverage issues when he did play. He did make some nice tackles, definitely in that the Browns game, but he had some, I remember, that struggled in coverage in the Titans game. And so that might have been his undoing. So that kind of is it as far as, the biggest one, probably the name that we all knew, D. Eskridge. I don't have it on this list because D. Eskridge was also waived. The D. Eskridge experiment is officially over. He had a nice punt return in that last game against the Browns. Thought, would this be enough to get him a job here with all this competition at receiver? But just couldn't do it. So he was waived and picked up by the Miami Dolphins and assigned to their practice squad. So we play the Dolphins in week 3. We probably won't see him. I mean, he wouldn't be on the field anyway, but being that he's on the practice squad, unless something were to happen to their starting receiver lineup, we won't probably face him when they come back to town. But D. Eskridge no longer with the Seahawks, now a Miami Dolphin. Let's see what else. Anything else here? Yeah, the only question really is John Schneider said he wasn't certain whether Connor Williams, the center, or Rayshawn Jenkins, safety, will be ready for the opener. So we may be looking at some of these backup guys to be ready to go for the first game of the year. So that is the latest. So we'll see what happens. I have lots more videos coming up. Got my big, every year I produce the Seahawks prediction music video to predict my prediction, what I think the Seahawks will do this year. But I do it to music. and do it to 17 songs as a music parody, changing the lyrics to all about the Seahawks upcoming season. So if you want to be in it, you can send me a 10 to 15 second clip of you in your Seahawks gear and just email me at norb@norbcam.com, and I'll put your video clip in the video. So before I sign off, again, just wanted to say a shout out to the sponsor of this video, BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, who have a promotion right now that if you sign up, your first 3 deposits will be matched 125% for the first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Again, that's like playing with free money, because if you deposit 100, they'll give you an extra 125 on top of that. Deposit 1,000, they'll put 1,250 on top of that. It's pretty cool. But check and make sure that your region or your state has online gambling, because some states don't, some do. So check your states and your local regulations regarding online gambling. And of course, if you do it, please bet responsibly or gamble responsibly. All right. And just to talk a little bit more about that is Michael Vick on BetUS Sports.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
And that is it. Special thanks to BetUS. And yeah, let's keep going. I will be live streaming every single game. I'll be doing it from inside the stadium at Lumen Field, and I'll be broadcasting right out of here, live reacting to all the away games. So I hope you'll join me for that. Again, don't forget to subscribe, comment, like this video. Helps me a lot in terms of the YouTube algorithm. And hit that notification bell so you won't miss any videos that I release in the future. All right. Thanks again for your time. Appreciate you watching. And it's an exciting time for Seattle fans. Whole new era. It's going to be fun to watch.